Well, in Italy, nearly 800 people have died within the last 24 hours, bringing the total of deaths there to 4,825. A lockdown to limit the spread has been in place for weeks. Now, tougher measures have been introduced which stop people visiting parks, playgrounds or public gardens. Sima Katecha reports from Rome.
No children, just empty playgrounds in Rome's largest park. Even tougher rules that have come into force today say people can't go into them to try and curb the outbreak. Here for several weeks, schools have already been closed.
The only noises that you can hear are the bells, the church bells, which is nice, but the other noise is the ambulances. That's all, the only two noises that you hear.
In Lombardy, the worst affected region, teachers say some children felt lost without social contact, but virtual lessons are helping.
To begin with, they were scared, I think, of their reality being taken away from them. Being able to actually deliver reality through a computer, even if he's obviously on a completely different scale, has been particularly important.
Aurelio, how do you feel about the coronavirus? Thumbs down?
Yeah.
Thumbs down.
One parent in Rome tells us she's worried about the psychological impact the outbreak will have on the young.
He is having a little bit of nightmares, though.
He's having nightmares.
Yeah. I don't know if it's connected, but he's having nightmares about spiders most nights. He says he's not worried because he's brave.
You're brave. Well, that's fantastic. You seem very brave and you look very brave.
Nobody has lived through times like this before. The spaces may be smaller, but as ever, everybody is learning to adapt. Sima Katecha, BBC News, Rome.
Well, we can speak live now to Irene Tinagli, who is MEP for North West Italy, representing the Lombardy region, which has been worst hit by the coronavirus. And she herself has been in quarantine for the last 3 weeks. First of all, Irene, how are you?
I'm fine, but of course I'm worried because this emergency keeps going, and although the growth rates is less, it's not as tough as it was a few days ago, but the death toll increases every day. So this is very worrying.
And the death toll has been really shocking today, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So many more have died. Is this something that people were prepared for, or has it taken people by shock?
Nobody was prepared for a tragedy of this magnitude, because at the very beginning, people thought it would be, a bad virus, so obviously worse than the flu. Nobody expected this kind of death toll. So now many people are starting to really get scared. The streets are completely desert. Of course, there are people sometimes, in line for groceries, but the situation is obviously very serious. Although the towns who were quarantined first, in those areas, the contagion has stopped. So this is a good sign that maybe in a week or so, even in the area that right now are most affected, it could be decreasing. So that's what we all hope.
That's one glimmer of hope, isn't it? This is a question that people have asked repeatedly. Why do you think the situation has been so bad in Italy, and particularly in Lombardy, the area that you represent?
Well, of course, doctors and scientists are looking into this because definitely it's much more severe than they would expect. Situation has gotten much better in smaller towns that went through quarantine much earlier than the rest of the Lombardy. We've been in quarantine for less than 2 weeks now, and the problem is that it's a very, very dense and industrial place, so factories have not been shut down, so many people kept going to work. So like the subways, public transportation, if you went in the morning or in the evening, they were still packed because people had to go to work. So it is possible that this didn't help, but we choose to close everything, like in the retail sector, restaurants, but not to shut down the factories and the industries, because these this would mean, of course, to shut down the whole country. So, but this is a debate that is ongoing in these days.
So it has been said that the UK is several weeks behind Italy. What advice would you have for the UK?
Well, take it very seriously. Don't hesitate to lock down, especially the areas that are more easily to lock down, as we did in several towns. They responded very well. In a couple of weeks, contagions started to decrease and disappear. Of course, it's more difficult for large metropolitan areas, it's true, but this is the first thing, is trying to lock down as much as you can. The second advice, protect your doctors. You're going to have problems and shortage of doctors. 10% of our, the people affected are doctors and nurses, and now we have a shortage, and this is a drama. So it's desperate, and so be very careful in protecting your doctors and nurses.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there. Many thanks for talking to us. Irene Tinagli there, speaking to us from Italy. Thank you.